Welcome to another episode of Labstream AI, where we explore how artificial intelligence is reshaping the future for fintech and SaaS. I'm your host, Mayrak Hamza. Today, I'm incredibly excited to welcome a guest whose entrepreneurial journey is putting chills up my spine, and he's as inspiring as the technology he's building. Eric Vevang is the founder and CEO of ClickDone, a company that's transforming the service industry by bringing simplicity, transparency, and automation to B2B and B2C transactions. Eric's story is rooted in real world experience, starting in sod sales and scaling to multiple service businesses before diving into tech. What I love most about Eric is how he's taken decades of hands on experience and channeled it into a fintech solution that empowers service providers and simplifies payments. He's a family man and a resilient founder and a true innovator. Eric, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mayrak. I'm really excited to be here. Let's do it.
Yeah, before we dive in, could you tell our listeners a bit about yourself in your own words, your journey, ClickDone, and what inspired your shift from the construction world into fintech innovation?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was around some great people when I was younger and did a lot of fixing things. Right, things break, and then I had to fix it. And mainly, it came from my boss. Like in my first construction job, he was on a nuclear sub in the Navy, super smart guy. He also had an engineering degree from Georgia Tech, and there was one thing this guy believed, that if man built it, man can fix it. So no matter what we were doing, if something went down, something went haywire, it was like you get in the ditch, you get in the trench, and you fix it. And so I always had this mindset that anything could be done. So when I eventually got off into my own thing and had, just your typical service business where I was wearing all the hats, I'm in the fields, I'm, doing the work, I'm taking the calls, I'm doing the sales, I did everything. Anytime something went down, I would just get to the bottom of it, find resolution. I always believed there was a way to fix it, and so I did that. And really, kind of the process into fintech and doing what we do now, basically minutizing the service industry, basically becoming the Shopify of the service industry, DoorDash of the service industry, is that I realized that everything was changing. Buying habits were changing, and most, if not, it's really almost all. It's like 99.99% of all service businesses right now, their websites are not open 24/7. And what I mean by that is that you need something done, you get on their site, and it might look good, awesome. So that's like, okay, provability, this is a good company. But the next thing they have to do is call or submit a contact form. And the problem is, if you don't answer that phone or you don't respond back to that contact form right away, they've moved on. They've either changed their mind about the project or they found someone else who's going to answer the phone. And this is getting worse and worse and worse. So the key that I've found about e-commerce is that your doors are open 24/7. You get to shake hands with your customer immediately. When I'm surfing the web at midnight and I come across this nice little sweatshirt I like, as soon as I click buy, it's like I have this excitement. I buy during my excitement, and then I just get a little simple confirmation email. Congrats, you got your order, and now all I have to do is wait for it to get here. And the cool thing about where we're at with financial services industry too is that if I don't get my shirt, I know I'm going to get my money back. And this is where the service industry has yet to evolve. And so that's what we're simply doing, is that we want to give people the opportunity to buy from your service business immediately at 9 o'clock at night when they're sitting in the bed and they agree, husband and wife, like, hey, we need a new fence in our backyard. We just got this dog or we got children. Like, they're going to maybe look at the fencing company, but it's just too much time and then too much hope and a lot of missing from the actual companies. So if we can make that thing viable, even if it's just an on-site estimate, well, then you've won. If they buy that $150 on-site consultation from your website, they're not going to call anybody else because they've been trained by Amazon and the alike that you're going to show up tomorrow. And guess what? If you don't, you're out of the game, which that goes back to being in a democracy anyway, and may the best business win. So that's really kind of my idea of fixing the services industry and what we're doing with ClickDone.
That's awesome. No, you're spot on. It's real time in there, and it's easy to just build a queue of people that came to your door, and now they're gone, and you didn't even address them right. ClickDone is solving real problems in the service industry. Can you walk us through the aha moment like that led
Yeah.
to its creation?
Absolutely. So it's around 2020-ish. I had sold my first business that I had for 10 years. Again, version one, classic service business. All those complaints I just made, that's how we ran that business. It took me 10 years and a lot of pain, almost lost a marriage. My body got really out of shape taking it from 0 to 3 million a year. And I hear this from hundreds, if not thousands, of current business owners. Just to get to 1 million was hard. Getting to 3 million is damn near impossible. And anything beyond that, I mean, it's very, very difficult. So when I finally exited that first company, I vowed to never get back in that industry again. I had wrote it off, even though that's what I knew, even though that was like my main thing, even though it's like what I had my whole adult life made money doing. I vowed to never get into it again. And just through a series of events, I kind of got, tempted, invited back into opening up one in my new city I was living in, which was Dallas, Texas. So I opened it up and it started getting some traction, but immediately I got those old feelings because they wanted me to go out to the house and do free estimates. And I just sat there and I said, I am not doing this again. And I was like, there has to be a better way. And of course, during COVID, it expedited this use of Amazon, this use of DoorDash. And it hit me. It just hit me out of the blue. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I could just menutize, like I know my products, I know my services, I know how much I generally charge. Yeah, sure, every project, because I hear a lot of contractors go, well, you don't know what it's like until you get there. BS. You know, generally speaking, how much your services cost on the low side and the high side and everywhere in between. And there's a good middle ground, usually on the higher side, that you could charge for every single one of your jobs and your margins are going to hit. So I was like, I need to automate this sales process. So the crazy thing was going to Shopify and realizing the ideas I had you couldn't really do it on the software. Wix, I go there. The ideas I had, I couldn't really do it on Wix. And I was very good with both the platforms. And I realized why. They were built. Now, again, they're the best at what they do. They're incredible companies, but they were built for product-based businesses. I've watched them over the last few years try to do right for services, and it's gotten a lot better. But once you get a ship moving in one direction, to get it to turn around or serve another purpose is near impossible. So that's why I knew I had to build ClickDone. So the first aha was when we got our version 1 done, which was just for our company. So it's not really SaaS at that point. It's not buyable by anybody else, but we built
Wow,
our
you
own
built it for yourself. Yeah, you
that
built it for yourself.
what we did in Dallas. Within a week, I mean, pumping just a little bit of traffic, maybe $20 a day to it, we started getting sales in the evening, well beyond when I would want to answer the phone. Boom, you have an order, and that you have another order. And these weren't just little orders. These are $1,700 orders. This was a $2,200 order. It was kind of mind blowing. And so all I had to do, of course, they got their little welcome email. It's not like they needed me to call them that night. They wouldn't want that. But the next morning, about 7, 8 o'clock, I'm like, hi, Mrs. Smith. This is Eric with so-and-so. We got your order last night. This is great. And then of course we'd always have a little button that said your preferred schedule date. I'd say, hey, I don't think we can do it that fast, but I think we can do it next Tuesday. Does that work for you? That's great. Let me pull up your home on Google Maps. Yeah, I think this is good. And the cool thing is, even when they would buy something and then maybe it didn't quite work out, like they undermeasured or they overmeasured, that stuff was super easy because I could just go back on Google Maps, figure it out, or maybe at that point they've already spent money with me. Well, I don't mind driving to the house now. It felt good. So when people started buying, so anyways, we took that company from 0 to $8 million in 2.5 years.
Was that the one you did 150 grand in a day?
Yeah.
Was that the one?
At our height, we were doing around $100,000 to $150,000 in transactions. 60% of that happening like through our website. So, and this is in services. And of course, I took it countrywide. We went to 50 major cities, but again, went from 0 to that in 2.5 years, essentially.
That's hot. That's hot.
But it was because we automated the sale. For centuries, what are all the great business books? I'm looking at my library over here. It's all about sales, and everyone's focused on sales. Sales are actually easier than they've ever been. I mean, if you can get in front of the person that needs the thing, people don't want manipulation anymore. They want transparency and efficiency. But what is hard? Harder than ever before, if you talk to anybody, it's actually getting the work done, finding the employees, keeping them, training them. So we're in an age now where you have to automate the transaction as much as possible because the owners need to be over here focused on fulfillment. And the only way you can focus on fulfillment if you can stop worrying. And that's what allowed us to grow so fast because I was able to now divert a lot of my attention over to scaling and figuring out how to be efficient over here instead of worrying about how the hell I was, doing quotes and this and that. So that was kind of the aha thing. So that's why I exited that company early, Merrick, because I'm just so determined to put this in the hands of every single service business owner out there, whether they're just doing
Wow.
50,000 a year or whether they're doing 50 million a year. It's a new paradigm. And it's hard to talk some of these old school guys into it, but again, eventually they're all going to get replaced by 20 and 30-year-olds who understand that this is the way services are going to be bought in the future.
I can feel the passion and the validation. There's no question. It's you've done it. You're living proof. How did your background in hands-on service work influence how you approach building a tech platform?
Yeah, so I think just never giving up. I'm probably So I'm what, 4 years into owning a software company. And so people ask me, so what do you do? And I tell them now, I'm like, oh, I own a software company. So they immediately assume that I code and I'm like some tech genius. But the truth is, I'm a non technical founder. Probably one of the hardest things to do in the software industry. Like I told you before when we spoke earlier, I had a few really bad learning curves. But again, like what I've learned in my life is that it's every failure that you get through, if you don't give up, that brings you to that next thing. And generally it's another failure. I'll never forget like the first time I had a flat tire in my old businesses. Well, I lost my profit that day because I was only making around $100 or $200 a day. Well, guess what? It was that flat tire that made me realize I needed to charge $200 a day. And then I remember blowing an engine one time that was $7,000 to replace, and I would calculated how many weeks of work that was, and that sucked. So then I raised my prices again, and then eventually I got that business to where I was making 9 to 12 grand a day, right? And I'm talking about just my first company. So every single one of those things wasn't because I went to business school, it's because I failed. So that tenacity and that willingness to never give up is what translated into this company. Because, for instance, we had a coder that we hired. I think he was in Holland or Ukraine or Germany, and I just trusted them. I didn't know how to check
Sure.
on the actual code. I didn't know how to log into the databases and actually see if there was viable work being done there. I just had no clue. Well, now I own all my repositories. I have control over them. I check them. We have project boards, right? But in the beginning, I was like, oh, cool. I hired this really smart programmer. And, again, I went 40,000 deep with one and didn't have a single bit of code. But shout out to TopTool. Their board handled it, and I got every bit of that money back, and they did the right
Thank
thing.
God.
But
No, it's hot.
again, it was just that allowed me to be a great manager now because I speak with my developers daily. They're good people. We are friends. Like, we talk about our family stuff. Like, yeah, and I learned all that from my previous businesses.
It's all about failing. You got to fail first fast and then being able to adjust and be successful there. Without the failure, I don't think you see the opportunities. I mean, that's really how that I think plays
Yeah,
out. What's been the most,
and we
tell
think
me.
we think we're smarter than we are. That's a big problem I see with people is that like we think we know it, especially when we're winning. Like when I'm winning, like oh, I got it figured out. Like I'm good to go. The only way you can continue to grow sometimes when you're in that prideful mindset of I'm a winner and I got it figured out is to fail. And it's almost like God is like helping you get smarter and better. And he had to force a failure. I'm not trying to blame anything on God, but you know what I'm saying? Like, dude,
Yeah,
we have it all figured out and we're winning. We're not learning. We're like,
that's right.
so
Yeah, that's when when it gets uncomfortable is really when it gets happening. That's
yeah,
that's
man.
that's what it's about. The growth happens there. What's been the most surprising lesson for you in transitioning from running a physical business to running a software company?
Yeah, how much harder it is to get customers. With home services, which I've always been in, I mean, it's a physical problem. It's like in your face. It needs to be fixed. I mean, for a lot of our, in the grass industry, a lot of people had dogs and like their grass was dead. So when it rained, we would always get those calls after the rain. Like I knew, like okay, here comes all the customers that have mud in their house and they think grass is going to solve it, which it does temporarily until the dogs kill it again. But so people had a very like niche need, like your garage door stops working. Well, that's like you gotta fix that. Software in many ways is like selling a solution that's not going to yield results for you for maybe weeks, if not months. Or maybe it won't actually fix the problem entirely. You know how that whole adage of like,
Instant gratification.
yeah,
It's
so it's
instant
not a silver
gratification.
bullet, right? Like
Yeah,
most SaaS is not a silver bullet. I mean, look at Shopify, best website builder in the world, them and Wix for product-based businesses. Um, But just because you have this great idea and you go there and you build a website doesn't mean anybody's going to come to it and buy anything from you. And that's the same problem ClickDone has. And so one of the things I think that we're working through right now is actually focusing on the lower level business guy, not necessarily going after the one that's winning already, but like and trying to talk him out of his existing platforms, although I think mine's much better. But like finding, and then what I've been doing is trying to basically coach these people for free. It's like, hey, not only I want you to buy the software. I think it'll work great for your business, but like I'll also be there in these early days, and I don't know how long I'll be able to do this, but like I'll be there to help you. So all of my actual customers right now, I'm very good friends with. I talk to them. They call me for business advice, and they're getting that whole like consultant thing kind of for free because
Free.
my success in many ways is dependent on their success. And then for every winning story I can get and their ecosystem is on the with ClickDone, then I know that's going to make ClickDone get to someone else who doesn't know about it. So that's been the hardest thing for me is acquisition of customers and getting the word out. And as you know, marketing really changed over the last 5 years. Not only is it flooded with people that need marketing and have figured it out, but it's also like flooded with like the technical side of like the know-how. So now the bids have gone up. It's not like you have 5 great marketers out there. It's really not hard to be a great marketer, which now has made the bid change, right? There's no secret sauce in the marketing world anymore, really. And yeah, it's kind of just flooded the system.
Let's circle into the AI part of this because ClickDone leans heavily on automation. Where do you see AI playing the most immediate role in simplifying payment flows for service businesses?
Yeah, so we have a very, very clear path with AI. We've done our step one, which is basically an AI agent on our actual ClickDone website. So if you go to clickdone.com, you're a potential customer. You can interact with the AI chatbot, and it's been trained in all things ClickDone. And you can say, hey, I own a cleaning business, and how can ClickDone help me? And it will begin to go through how ClickDone can actually help them with the business. So that's like a sales agent. The next step that we're building is an interactive virtual assistant on the inside of the platform. So let's say, okay, you interact with ClickDone AI on the homepage. It talks to you about ClickDone, why you should use it. Okay, then you buy it. Now you're in. It's going to be reading every bit of your data of your business as you're building your website, as you're entering your products and services. And then it's going to be able to see your sales, who's buying what and how much it's spending. So now you're going to have this assistant that actually knows everything about your business. So that's going to be another great step. The next step after that is we're going to have an AI onboarding experience. And so like, for instance, I've already trained one model on all the text fields and inputs of ClickDone. So essentially like when I'm helping people with their version 1 website, I just type in a few things like what they do, who they are, what city they're located in, and then it gives me a chart of all their products and services they should probably sell, the pricing and the rates at which they should sell it at, all the description, which is SEO rich and friendly, the schema and all that. And so, but we're still having to take it from there into it manually, into the text fields, and then publish the websites. So obviously, naturally, the next step is just skipping me and letting the customer, but then letting the customer on board with maybe 5 simple questions, and then boom, immediately get a version 1 website that's SEO rich for their particular area. It's priced accurately for their particular area, and they have all the different service categories and services that they should do. And then the last thing will be for them to just proofread it, take out what they don't want to do, maybe add something that wasn't included, change out the pricing and all that stuff. Lastly, one of the big things we're going to do is we're going to do an accounting piece with ClickDone. So our aim is to replace the need. I've always said, like when I've always ran my businesses, my first business, I had probably 6 windows I used. Then my next business, I probably had 4 windows because I'm always about being efficient. My goal with ClickDone is to make it to where the business owner doesn't have to have any other open windows. So we're going to include ClickDone accounting probably next year. And then the year after that, we're going to do an M&A for all ClickDone businesses. We'll basically, like, you get ready to sell your business, you're at year 4, you want to sell it, we'll have an M&A marketplace where you can list your business for sale, and then
That's
ClickDone
awesome.
is going to take a nominal fee, which is really going to disrupt the business broker world where they're generally taking 6 to 10% of a business sale. with our concept, the way we're going to do it, we'll only need 1 to 3% of that business sale. And then other people on the ClickDone platform understand how valuable ClickDone businesses are. It'll be a very smooth transition. So we're excited about all things AI. We've got a guy on our team who's it's like I call him the MIT dropout, because the dropouts are the ones that really figure stuff out.
That's right. That's right.
Really great friends with one right now. He's looking forward to joining the team fully. He's already on as an advisor, and he's built a few of the elements of our company. But we're hoping to get him on more full time soon.
Your vision is so grand. Like, you're already at like exiting these companies that you're going to help. You see such value in what you're providing that you can help them grow and show the whole train of, basically traceability, right? And from transparency.
Listen, man, it's start, scale, sell, or start, grow, sell. You have to start. Most people dream of starting a business and never will. Then you have this bucket of people that start and cannot figure out how to grow, and they'll spend their entire life trying to do it. And that's, but I've met so many people who have started and grown, and then they have this asset and they have no idea what to do with it when they get old or when they get sick, or if their son doesn't want it. And that's sad. One of my favorite things was my 2 exits that I've had. It just was amazing. I'll never forget when I first started my businesses and I was doing taxes. And of course, like the first year I was intermingling everything and I didn't know what to do. And I had this really sweet lady, CPA, and she goes, "Eric, what makes you think that you're the business?" She's like, "The business is a business and you are you. They are separate." And I didn't understand that. She said this to me. She straight up, she said, "When you die, your phone's still going to ring on that business. It's separate from you. How you take care of it matters, because like it's stewardship. It's stewardship." So big picture ClickDone is simply about stewardship. I want to steward people's time and energy through automating as much as I can. I want to steward their growth. I want them to, because hey, look, not everyone wants to have $1 million business. Not everyone wants that. I've met plenty of business owners who do 2 or 3 jobs a day and they go home early and they're happy. That's fine. Not everyone wants to get rich, but there's a lot that do. And so I want to help people do that. And lastly, I want to help people sell their business when they're done. I want them to be able to exit when the timing is right, because you never know when life hits. You never know when sometimes you just don't like what you're doing no more. I mean, how many people have we met that are super rich? They have a great business, but they'll tell you like, "Oh, I hate it. This sucks." Like, and you're like, "What? Shut up, dude." But the truth is, they're bored. They want to go do something new, right? So you got to sell the thing.
How do you see AI improving transparency in trust and pricing models, especially in industries where hidden fees or vague estimates are common?
Yeah. So basically, like the models are getting so good right now that they're able to. So I'm already doing this when I research how to price out someone's business. They already know the common pricing out there, right? And it's even area specific. So the pricing of a 3.5 ton AC unit in Los Angeles, California is going to be much different than in Dallas, Texas, or Atlanta, Georgia. So that information is already out there. The thing that this is a little mind blowing and maybe gets a little technical, but you'll understand what I'm saying. One of the most valuable things that ClickDone is going to have over time, which we're already getting some of the data with our current subscribers, we're going to know what products and services are being listed for sale and at what prices. We're going to know. So check this out. Look where I'm going with this. We're going to know. So let's get to the place 3 years from now. We have 10,000 customers. We have businesses in 12 different major genres. We're in all over the country. We're going to have some of the most valuable data out there in the world for service businesses. I'll have a couple choices. I can do what everyone else does, and I can sell this off to other firms and make a ton of money and be the bad guy, which I don't intend to. Or I can roll this into exactly what our customers need when they start to price their businesses fair and accurately, if that makes sense. Because we'll know the going rates. And this, they talk about when you have like big markets.
You're going to help them sell more. They're going to sell more. They're going to convert because you're hitting the right price points.
Notify people. We can notify this business whose maybe sales are down 5%. Hey, your prices are falling out of line with industry trends. We will have the most upfront data we will have probably massive firms offering us millions of dollars just to get our data. I forget what it's called. It's like, is it leading? Oh, a leading indicator. There's leading indicators in the economy. Some of them just how much traffic is in Home Depot. It's not even the sales, it's almost the foot traffic sometimes. Like how many people walked in the door that day. That's like a leading indicator, right? So in our world for services and lots of products, we're going to begin to have some major leading indicators, and we can roll that information back in to help our users.
I love that. You're so all about the user and leveling the playing field to give them access to things that normally the
Dude,
big guys have and they keep for themselves and they hoard
dude,
out. This is like, this
listen,
is,
I tell my friends and family, if you ever find me like acquiescing to the big guy or big government, then just go ahead and off me. Like I've sold out. If I ever
that's
become
where we get
some
along. No, we're in the
some
same. I come from the same cloth. I'm all about the little guy. I don't shop at Starbucks. I go to the no name guy.
and the thing is, I respect government and I respect big business. I think it has its place. But I also love the story of Robin Hood, right? Like
Right?
I just love that. And so I'm not gonna steal from the rich and give to the poor, but I'm damn sure gonna let the poor give them all the best tools that they can
I
have
love it.
to compete with the rich, right?
Yeah, I love that. It's no, it's hot. Can you tell me, can AI be used to predict customer payment behaviors or detect payment friction before it happens?
I'll tell you, this may sound a little conspiracy theorish. Um, I believe AI is way more advanced than we are aware of. I believe that the predictive behavior analysis of AI is probably above 90% accurate. We already know the phones are listening, and we know it shows us things that we talk about, but people are afraid. People know that the phone's showing them things they've only thought about, but they dismiss it and we don't talk to each other a lot about it. The phone is showing us things that we know we haven't said and that we've only thought about because of predictive behavior analysis, because it's telling the future. It's game theory. AI, there are certain firms and probably governments that know the future. And whether they use it against us or for us, God, I hope I never find out. But yes, I mean certainly as more access into AI becomes like, so we're always getting what's 20 years behind. You know what I'm saying? Um More of that will come into play. And yes, absolutely, we can begin to predict what people are going to buy and when and for how much. And some people already have that knowledge.
I didn't give you the script to the questions I'm going to ask, and you've already addressed this, and I'm going to ask you because it was on my list. But how are you using machine learning and data analytics to improve your user experience or optimize pricing strategies? I think you shared with us how you're going to
Yeah,
just
yeah, no,
give it
yeah.
to
We
them.
mentioned that one of the things
Yeah,
that just again I'll repeat that I'm really excited about is like just constantly feeding little tidbits of information back to our clients, back to our users, to help them change, to help them edit, to help them be more in line with industry standards because it's all about success, and I want them to win. So again, if someone's underpriced in their market, wouldn't it be great if they knew that? And who knows who's gonna know? Well, if I have 150, plumbers in the city of Atlanta on ClickDone, like we know what the going rates for everything are. And what I love about it is people ask, well, how does that work? How can you have 150 people in one city and want all of them to win? I want the world to win. And how do we do that? By everyone running a good business. And so the more competitive everyone is, it's not about who can have the most gamesmanship. Like we have to sit at the table and have an honest conversation. It's not I'm so sick of salesmanship and manipulation. How about you just do a damn good job for a fair price? And that will always win. And guess what? If 150 plumbers in Atlanta, Georgia are all doing a damn good job for a fair price, some of them are not going to be great at scaling and they're only going to have 3 trucks and they'll be happy. Some of them are going to have 25 trucks. Some of them. And so that's how you divvy out the work. Going back to not everyone wants to be big. So
that's right.
we've complicated this whole thing. Dude, people serving people to me is where God's at. But we've gotten to this place where we don't even want to deal with people and the services. That's why everyone has such a headache with the services industry because you can't avoid it. It's people serving people.
You're so funny. Yeah, it's the truth. That's
It's the
exactly
truth.
right.
Dude, you go out in your neighborhood and almost all your conversations across America are like, oh, I can't find a contractor for this. Oh, I hired so and so and he screwed up my walls. It's just like a place of like friction for our whole world. And if we can do something to better it, bring people together, by God, we can. And like it's actually through technology. It's like it's people, but let's use technology to heal the wounds in this industry and just help everyone out.
What do you think the role that AI plays in reducing operational overhead or replacing manual processes with click?
Oh my gosh, dude. The second business
Yeah,
we had, by simply automating the sales process, it eliminated at least your first salesman and many more. So, at $1 million a year, you can get away with one sales guy typically with most businesses. I didn't need that anymore. That eliminates that, $70,000 pickup truck. It eliminates the insurance for that truck. It eliminates like the third month when your sales guy got really drunk the night before and then he wrecks in the morning and gets a DUI and then your company gets sued. So you can't really put a number to it. And then it goes into, for instance, once we get the accounting piece, they'll be plugging in their expenses. We'll be able to use AI for that. Hey, your costs are, this much above the industry standard. Here's some ideas on how you can eliminate that because, again, their AI virtual assistant can let them know, hey, you're spending more on parts than the national average for other irrigation companies or whatever. So we're going to be able to
yeah.
do, like, it's just endless, right? It's just,
I love that. You went from multiple screens, 4 screens to 2 screens to one screen. And I think that in itself, when you're explaining that, puts the process in one place. And business owners, they get overwhelmed
it's all about
quickly.
efficiency. For
That's
instance,
right.
like obviously ClickDone has your base. I mean, think about when automation started coming out. So my first business, I would have a folder and I would have tabs in my folder. It would say like first follow up, second follow up, third follow up, canceled. And so essentially, I would have all these lead sheets. I'd print 12 pieces of paper out every morning. This is 15 years ago. Some people probably are still doing this. And I go to each job, and I mean, just so laborious. I spent so much of my life doing this. And then if they didn't buy the job when I met with them, I would roll that into the first follow up. Then the next, every day I would go into that tab and I'd call all these first follow ups. I'd text them, and so, dude, all of that's automated now, and we have
Yeah.
all that in ClickDone. So the minute someone gets an estimate, which by the way they can do that themselves on your Minutize website, if they don't buy, instead of abandoned cart, you just save as an estimate, which is on our sites. So then it goes into a workflow. And so they immediately get the estimate. It's a link to go buy it. And then they have an automated workflow. You get to personalize the emails, you get to personalize the text. Hey, this is so and so with Heat and Air. Just following up. I know yesterday you looked at buying this order here. Feel free to click it at any time. And so you can set up as many of these as you want. And then we have the automated workflows for the orders. So once someone places the order, they get that link. Then when you change it to scheduled, it sends them the day they're coming. You can change it to on my way. Hey, we're on our way. We just added a tip feature. One of my clients, he does auto detailing. And so he has his own ClickDone site that's for auto detailing. People love it. Dude, he's washing cars, and I think in the Miami area for like 500, 600, $700, dude, because they're like really nice cars, really rich clientele, and they
Yeah.
love the fact that they can buy and book him whenever. They don't have to call him; they just book him, and it's a ClickDone site. So,
You're funny because you're legit with what you're saying. You're answering my question, my next question, which was how do you envision AI evolving around the real time payments and smart invoicing across the verticals? You're talking about smart invoicing right now,
yeah,
like
yeah, it's
texting, paying, right?
dude, it's super simple. Like that's the whole point of minutizing what you do. If
Manutizing.
that's the word I've kind of framed. It's not really in the dictionary. I'm trying to kind of coined it,
It's a
but
great word. No, it's exactly right because it's not a product, it's a service, and everybody has different services and unique verbiage. So call it a menu, have the pull down, enter in what you want. It's dynamic and it's yours.
and the way we really did the logic was really genius, and it took me a while to figure it out. But like you start off with your product or service, like whatever that thing is. Well, the next thing you want to do is give the business the opportunity to add a lot of like options. Now, what an option is, it's like a test. It's like either or. It can't be multiples, right? So, for instance, let's say you wanted to do a hot water heater and they selected a certain brand. Well, maybe the options are gas or electric, right? So the client then chooses gas or electric. Well, then you have add-ons, right? Add-ons can be anything and everything or none. This is a perfect example is a car wash. Someone orders a truck wash And then the option is you could have three options. And this is what our client Brett does: interior only, exterior only, full detail. So his client has to choose. The next thing are the add-ons. He's building his cart. He's building his order book, all without talking to Brett, all without having to get his info at the gas station, all without this long phone call and texting back and forth. What happens, by the way, too, when you don't minutize your pricing? You give Jim Bob, you quote him 150, you tell Sally 300 because you forgot what you told Jim Bob. You're never consistent, ever. And and that's the whole point. You got to have a menu. You got to have a menu book. You got to be standard. And so
you take the gypsy out of it and you minutize it and you standardize it. You're spot on. You got quotes going out everywhere. It's got to be the same.
Yeah, dude, you're scaling.
Eric, thank you so much for joining us today. Your journey in the field from fintech is such a amazing example how real world grit meets high tech vision. For our listeners, if you're out in the service space looking to rethink how you handle payments, pricing, or automation, definitely check out Eric and his team, what they're building at ClickDone. This has been another episode of Livestream AI. I'm Mayrak Hamza. Until next time, keep building smart, keep scaling, and stay curious. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Mayrak. Really appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Likewise.